Nadia stared at the peeling wallpaper in her tiny apartment, the cold of another Eastern European winter crawling through the cracks of the window. She had been scrolling aimlessly through her phone when the message arrived, a stranger with a perfect smile, expensive suit, and words that glowed like gold. Karim Al-Mansour, the profile read. He claimed to be a Dubai businessman, searching for fresh European faces for an upcoming modeling project. The photos attached showed her life reimagined: yachts, city skylines, luxury suites. Her heart raced. For years she had watched friends leave for bigger cities, building lives that shimmered with opportunities. She had stayed behind, working small jobs, listening to her mother's sighs at the dinner table. This message felt like an open door. Her mother frowned when Nadia mentioned it. People like him, they promise the world, but nothing is free. Nadia forced a smile. Mama, I'm not a child. This is my chance. You don't know who he is. I know enough. He believes in me. The conversation ended with silence, the kind that pressed on Nadia's chest long after her mother left the room. She replayed Karim's voice messages that evening, low, smooth, assuring her of a future that sounded like freedom. You will not regret this, he had said. Dubai is waiting for you. I will take care of everything. Days blurred into preparations. She bought a second-hand suitcase, filled it with clothes that felt too plain for the glamorous life ahead. Her friends rolled their eyes when she told them. One muttered, "Sounds like a scam," but Nadia shut her ears to doubt. She clung to the glow of Karim's promises. At the airport, her hands trembled as she handed over the ticket he had sent. Every step toward the gate felt like stepping into another skin, one she had dreamed of wearing. She pictured herself in photographs that would make her unrecognizable to the neighbors who once pitied her. The flight stretched long into the night. Nadia pressed her forehead to the window, watching clouds scatter like torn silk beneath the plane. She whispered to herself, "This is it. My new life." As the captain announced descent, she caught her reflection in the oval glass, wide-eyed, lips trembling between fear and excitement. Below, the city spread like a jewel box, skyscrapers glittering in impossible patterns. The streets looked alive, pulsing with money and promise. The plane touched down smoothly. Nadia gripped the armrest, her pulse quickening with each second closer. Her phone buzzed with a message. "Welcome, Nadia. I am waiting." She closed her eyes, picturing him at the arrival gate, ready to guide her into the world he had painted with words. Stepping off the plane, the heavy desert air wrapped around her, warm and unfamiliar. She tightened her grip on the suitcase handle, her heart pounding with the rush of destiny. The lights of Dubai shimmered through the glass walls of the terminal, dazzling and endless. Nadia exhaled, whispering to herself, "I made it." What she did not see were the shadows stretching quietly behind those lights, waiting for her first step into them. The airport doors slid open, and the heat of Dubai wrapped around Nadia like a heavy cloak. She spotted him almost instantly. Karim stood apart from the crowd, dressed in a tailored suit, despite the late hour, his presence commanding. His smile stretched wide when their eyes met, and for a moment Nadia's chest flooded with relief. "Welcome, Nadia," he said, his accent smooth, every syllable deliberate. His hand brushed hers as he took the suitcase. "From this moment, you are not alone. You are with me." The car waiting outside gleamed black, its leather interior chilled against the desert night. As they drove through the illuminated highways, skyscrapers towering like steel giants, Nadia pressed her face to the window. Everything felt surreal, a dream she didn't want to wake from. Karim watched her with a quiet satisfaction. "You see," he said softly, "this city is alive, and soon it will know your name." The villa appeared after a maze of private roads, its gates rising like golden spears. Inside, marble floors reflected chandeliers, and perfume lingered in the air. Nadia's breath caught. She had never seen such opulence, but small details unsettled her. The way Karim locked the door behind them, the subtle surveillance cameras perched in corners. She told herself it was only for security, nothing more. That night, he showed her a guest suite. The bed was enormous, sheets softer than anything she had touched. Yet, when she tried to call her mother, the phone displayed no service. Karim noticed. "Don't worry," he said, taking the device gently from her hands. "Foreign SIM cards don't work well here. I'll get you one tomorrow. Tonight, just rest." Nadia nodded, though unease prickled at her skin. She told herself to stop overthinking. This was paradise. She had no reason to doubt him. The next morning he introduced her to a photographer who snapped dozens of pictures. As Karim hovered nearby, they spoke in Arabic, laughing at times, glancing at her. She posed awkwardly, cheeks flushed, unsure if this was what modeling was supposed to feel like. Later, he took her shopping. Designer dresses draped over her frame, jeweled heels clicked against glossy floors. Karim insisted on paying for everything. At first she protested, but he silenced her with a firm look. "In this city," he whispered, "your image is everything. Let me shape it." That evening, as dinner was served by a silent maid, Nadia asked, "When will I start work?" "The campaign you mentioned." Karim set his glass down, his gaze steady. "Patience, Nadia. You are not ready yet. Trust me. I know what is best for you." The firmness in his tone made her swallow her questions. She nodded, forcing a smile, though her chest tightened. By the third night, the villa no longer felt like a palace. The windows seemed too high, the doors too heavy. She reached for her phone, but it was gone. When she asked, Karim's answer was simple. "You don't need distractions here. Focus on me. On us." His words wrapped around her like silken chains all at once. Nadia laughed lightly, pretending to agree, but deep inside fear flickered. The villa glowed brighter that night. Yet the rooms echoed with silence, too thick to ignore. Nadia lay awake, eyes wide, realizing she had traded one kind of prison for another. Nadia woke to the sound of faint footsteps in the corridor, the kind that hesitated before moving again. She sat up, heart quickening. When she opened her door, the hall was empty, until a soft voice whispered from the shadows. "You are new here." A young woman stepped forward, her eyes cautious, her body thin as if weighed down by something unseen. She introduced herself as Layla from Morocco. Her smile was polite, but her gaze darted nervously toward the stairwell. Nadia whispered back, "I thought I was alone." Layla lowered her voice. "You are never alone in this house, remember that." Before Nadia could ask more, Karim's voice rang out from below, warm but commanding. "Nadia, breakfast is ready." Layla disappeared quickly, leaving only a warning glance behind. At the table, Karim's charm glittered, as always. He spoke about building her portfolio, about parties and investors who would fight to book her. Nadia listened, nodding, though her thoughts returned to Layla. "Why didn't you tell me someone else lives here?" she asked cautiously. Karim's smile stiffened. "Layla is an assistant. She helps around the house. Don't worry about her." His hand slid a velvet box across the table. "What you should think about is this." Inside lay a necklace, diamonds catching the light like shards of frozen fire. Nadia gasped. "For you," he said softly. "Because you belong here now." She stammered. "It's too much." Karim's eyes hardened. "Nothing is too much for the woman I choose." His tone silenced her. She allowed him to fasten the necklace around her neck, the cold gems pressing against her skin. It gleamed beautifully in the mirror, yet felt heavier than stone. Later that day, Nadia slipped into the garden to find Layla watering flowers. The girl's hands trembled as she worked. "Why are you here?" Nadia asked. Layla glanced toward the windows. "Same reason as you. Promises." Her lips tightened. "But promises can become chains." Nadia's stomach twisted. "He gave me this," she said, touching the diamonds. Layla's eyes darkened. "That's not a gift. It's a leash. Once you wear it, he thinks you are his." The words rattled Nadia, but before she could respond, the sliding doors opened. Karim stepped out, his presence filling the space. "Nadia, come inside. The sun is too harsh." That night, she tried calling her mother from the landline she discovered in the library. The line was dead. She searched her room for her phone, but it was gone. Karim never mentioned returning it. When she confronted him gently, his smile was patient, too patient. "You don't need to worry about outside voices," he said. stroking her cheek. "They only fill your head with doubts, trust me, and everything will be perfect." His hand lingered just long enough to remind her who held control. Sleep eluded Nadia. Every sound seemed amplified, the click of doors locking, the hush of footsteps that weren't hers. The necklace lay heavy around her throat, impossible to remove. She tugged at the clasp, but it refused to budge, as if fastened too tightly. In the silence, she remembered Layla's warning, promises can become chains. Nadia curled beneath the silk sheets, eyes wide in the darkness. For the first time, the villa felt like a cage, the diamonds like bars, and she began to wonder if escape was even possible. Day one began with silence. Nadia woke to find Layla's room empty, the bed neatly made, her belongings gone. When she asked Karim where Layla was, his expression tightened. "She left," he said flatly. "She wasn't loyal." The word lingered in the air, sharp and unforgiving. Nadia nodded, though unease gnawed at her chest. By day two, her mother's unanswered messages piled up in her mind. Nadia tried again to ask for her phone. "It's not the time," Karim replied, his tone clipped. "Focus on becoming who you were meant to be. The outside world doesn't understand." "But Mama..." "Enough," he interrupted, his hand slamming the table so hard the glassware rattled. He softened after a moment, cupping her face. "Don't make me angry. I care for you, Nadia. Only me." On day three, the villa's walls seemed closer. The chandeliers glittered, but their beauty mocked her. She wandered into the library and discovered dozens of glossy photos of women she did not recognize, each posing in the same way she had during her photo shoot. Some frames were empty, as if someone had removed what no longer belonged. That night, Karim appeared in her doorway. "You look lonely," he murmured. He pressed a kiss against her hair before leaving. Nadia's stomach twisted. His tenderness felt like possession, not comfort. Day four arrived with heavy heat pressing through the windows. Nadia stood by the pool, staring at the water's stillness, when she heard Karim's voice behind her. "You're thinking too much." She turned, startled. He handed her a drink, his eyes lingering too long. "This life is better than anything you left behind. Why do you resist happiness?" I miss home," she whispered. He laughed, low and cold. "Home is gone. This is your home now." By day five, her hope frayed. She attempted to push the balcony door open at dawn, but it was locked from outside. Cameras stared down at her from the corners, blinking red. She pressed her hands against the glass, whispering, "Help me," though no one could hear. That evening, Karim gifted her another dress, silk the color of blood. "Wear this for me," he demanded. Her voice cracked. "Why do you keep me here?" His smile froze. "Because I chose you. Isn't that enough?" On day six, she refused to come down for breakfast. Hours passed before the door burst open. Karim stood there, anger burning beneath his polished mask. "Do not test me," he hissed. He gripped her wrist, his fingers bruising her skin. "You're mine, Nadia. Don't forget it." Tears burned her eyes as she whispered, "I just want to go home." He released her suddenly, stepping back with a chilling calm. "After everything I've given you, ingratitude is dangerous." Day seven dawned with silence, so heavy it pressed against her chest. The villa seemed deserted, corridors echoing like tombs. Nadia sat on the edge of her bed, clutching the necklace that cut into her skin. Her reflection in the mirror startled her, eyes hollow, lips trembling, a stranger in expensive clothes. When she ventured downstairs, Karim was waiting. His smile returned, practiced and poisonous. "Tonight, we celebrate. Only us." The words filled her with dread she could not name. The diamonds at her throat felt tighter than ever, and in the pit of her stomach she knew something irreversible was about to happen. The call never came. On the eighth day, Nadia's mother sat in her kitchen in Eastern Europe, staring at the silent phone. She had left dozens of messages, each more desperate than the last. The last voice note was cracked with tears. "Nadia, please, just let me know you are safe." Her neighbor, hearing her sobs, urged her to go to the police. But the officer at the desk only raised a brow when she explained. "Your daughter is an adult," he said. If she chose to travel, we cannot interfere. She's not answering. She never stays silent this long, her mother pleaded. He sighed, scribbling notes without looking at her. Maybe she doesn't want to be found. Back in Dubai, Karim's villa came alive with laughter and music. Guests in glittering gowns arrived in sleek cars, filling the halls with perfume and champagne. Nadia was nowhere to be seen. When someone asked, "Where is the beautiful girl you promised to show us?" Karim smiled coolly. "She's resting. Too much excitement for her." Behind his charm, his eyes flickered with irritation. He slipped away from the party at intervals, making quiet phone calls no one dared question. Nadia's mother, refusing to give up, contacted the embassy. A stern man on the other end of the line repeated the same answer. "We need proof of danger. Missing reports in foreign countries are delicate matters." Each word felt like a door slamming shut. She sent Nadia one last message. "I don't care about modeling or money, just come home." The screen remained dark. Meanwhile, Karim toasted his guests. "To beauty, to loyalty, to new beginnings," he declared. His laughter rang out, but those close enough saw how tightly his hand gripped the glass, as if crushing something invisible. Later, when the music softened and the villa's lights glowed low, he walked through the silent corridors. Nadia's room door stood open, bed neatly made, the necklace missing from its velvet box. His jaw clenched. To his guests, he was the gracious host. Alone, he was a man tightening his grip on control, slipping through his fingers. Nadia's absence stretched into hours, then a day. By the time whispers began among staff and neighbors, Karim had already prepared his alibi. "She decided to leave," he told them smoothly. "She was ungrateful. Some women never appreciate what they have." In her mother's home, silence weighed heavier each night. She clutched Nadia's childhood photo, whispering prayers into the dark. Her instincts screamed something had gone terribly wrong, even if no one believed her. And in the spaces between official reports and parties drenched in champagne, Nadia's name began to fade, like someone carefully erasing her from the world. The morning sun beat down on the industrial outskirts of Dubai. Trucks rumbled through narrow alleys, the air thick with heat and decay. A sanitation worker dragged a bin toward the crusher, humming faintly to drown the stench. Then he froze. Something pale peeked through the black plastic. A hand. His shout brought others running. Police sirens wailed minutes later, cutting through the morning haze. Officers pulled the bag open, revealing Nadia's body curled unnaturally, skin bruised, lips cracked. The diamond necklace still clung to her throat, smeared with dirt. Fluorescent lights flickered against the rusted walls, casting her lifeless face in harsh clarity. One officer muttered, 7 days, shaking his head. Another whispered, "She was just a girl." Back in her village, Nadia's mother received the call she had dreaded. The words blurred in her ears. "Found dead. Container. Under investigation." She collapsed to the floor, the phone clattering beside her. Neighbors rushed in, but nothing could fill the silence her scream left behind. Meanwhile, Dubai newspapers ran cautious headlines. "Foreign woman found dead, suspected overdose." No mention of chains, no mention of Karim. The official version painted Nadia as careless, reckless, another young woman swallowed by temptation. But whispers spread quickly. Among the workers, among women who had known Karim's promises before, one recalled seeing Nadia's face at a party, her eyes hollow. Another swore she had heard shouting from the villa that night. None dared speak too loudly. Investigators arrived at Karim's doorstep. He greeted them in a crisp white shirt, expression calm. "Tragic," he murmured. "But she left my house days ago. She wanted more freedom than I could give." His tone dripped with practiced sorrow. His alibi was airtight. Cameras showed him entertaining guests, laughing, pouring wine. Yet behind closed doors, the silence in the villa grew heavier. The missing photographs, the sudden absence of women like Layla, the necklace that should have bound Nadia, but now marked her grave, all whispered a truth officials refused to hear. As the body was lowered into foreign soil, her mother clutched the coffin, weeping. She just wanted a better life. Her cries carried across the cemetery, raw and endless. Nadia's dream had ended, not in the glamour of flashing cameras, but among garbage bags in a forgotten alley. And in Dubai, Karim poured another drink, his smile returning as though nothing had ever been lost. Her story did not end in silence. Journalists picked it up first. Headlines that asked how a young woman chasing a dream ended up discarded like waste. Soon cameras rolled in her hometown, interviewing neighbors who remembered Nadia as the girl who wanted more. Her mother's voice shook in front of reporters. She wasn't naive. She believed him because he made her believe. He promised her love, safety, a future, and he killed her hope before he killed her. Experts called it a pattern. Foreign women lured with offers of modeling or marriage, trapped in villas where luxury became prison. Survivors whispered similar stories, faces blurred on screen, each testimony echoing the same truth. Karim's charm was a weapon, his wealth a shield. The investigation stalled. Officials cited lack of evidence. Karim's parties continued. Though fewer people attended, shadows following his every move. Justice for Nadia remained locked behind influence and silence. Yet her name spread beyond borders. Documentaries replayed her journey in haunting detail. The flight, the necklace, the final week of silence. The diamond gift, once a promise, became the symbol of her captivity. One closing shot showed her photograph, bright-eyed, smiling, before the trip that would end her life. The screen faded to black, with words that lingered. She went to Dubai to become a model. 7 days later, she was found in a trash container. And somewhere in the city's glittering skyline, her story still pulsed like an unhealed wound, a warning for those who would follow the same golden promise.